Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's episode is a pretty major one. So my brother's been up all day helping, and we have he brought the flywheel up as well because my dad went and picked it up. So we've fitted the flywheel, fitted the clutch to the engine as well. Got the engine in the car, connected to the clutch, exhaust on. So basically what's left, I'll show you in a minute, but what's left is plumbing, so rad, cooler lines, all that lot, and finishing off some of the wiring. A lot of the wiring is already done, so I've already put the ECUs in, they're all connected. At the moment I'm going to try and isolate the LPG loom, so just run up petrol to begin with, just to make sure everything's running fine, and then I'll figure out the LPG stuff afterwards. But yeah, so it's in, fits, works well. It's taken us probably 6 hours to get it in, including fitting the flywheel and clutch and stuff, so really happy with that. So what I'm doing at the moment, it's a bit of a hopefully how-to. This is only temporary at the moment, just as a trial. I'm going to neaten all this up afterwards. So part of the V8 loom, there's an auto box plug that connects to the ECU for the auto box, which is housed within the ECU. But what it has on it, it has two Canbus network wires, or 4 wires essentially. So this is actually the plug from the Autobox loom, so I've just chopped it off. You probably don't need to go to the extent of this, really. You know, you could probably, what I might end up doing is actually cutting the plug off the car side of the loom and shorting the bits I need to do there. But I want to test it on this first. So all I'm going to do now is just bridge the wires that I need to bridge on this, plug this in, and hopefully it will then work. If it does work, then I'll neaten it all up and stuff. So basically what it is, if you leave these open, so the CAN network goes into this and then comes back, if you leave this completely open, it will cause all kinds of Canbus errors that will lead you in any which way. Simple solution is to bridge the connections between them. So what you are doing is connecting yellow with black tracer to yellow with black tracer, and yellow with brown tracer to yellow with brown tracer. Trying to keep the wires as short as possible in doing so, because interference and stuff, and trying to keep the wires still twisted up to the connection. So on the plug, that's pins 2 connected to pins 4, and then pin 3 connected to pin 5. So that then, those connections bridged, should then mean the rest of the Canbus system is happy. It doesn't see an open circuit, and in theory won't cause problems. I say I'm doing this as a temporary thing at the moment so I can get it started. Once I know it works, then I'll neaten it up and do a nice job. So yeah, so I'll show you how to do it. I mean, it's pretty basic. So we've got pins. So starting with the purple wires, purple with a wire with a white tracer is pin 1, and the thin brown wire is pin 9. So we've got pin 2 and pin 4. So I'm just going to chop these down. I want to leave a little bit of length on these in case I need to do anything different with them. Yeah, I'm going to leave them a little bit long just in case I need to do anything different with them. But literally all I'm going to do for now is strip them, going to twist the wires back together. Twist the wires together, should I say? And then just carry on, twist those together. And then what I'll do as well is once these are crimped together, so I'm literally just going to use a terminal for now, just so it doesn't end up shorting out or anything. So that can that's on there like that. Do the same with the black and yellow, and black, shall I say. Again, wires. Twist them together, and then hopefully, because they're fairly short, in any kind of interference should be very, very minimal. And then again, crimp. So there we have it, and then I will just, for completeness, twist those together as well. So that now should work fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape all these wires up just so they don't short out on anything, because I know some of them are big power wires and stuff. So just going to tape the ends of these up so that nothing can short out on the body and cause other problems. And then I'm going to plug this into the car and see what happens. I'm probably not going to be starting, well, I'm definitely not going to be starting this evening, just because I've been at it all day, but hopefully tomorrow we should be able to get it up and running, and see if it's all worked or if it's all been a disaster. So only time will tell. So yes, that's that for now. I'll show you where we're at with the car then. apologise for the light now. It is quite dark outside, so I'll try and get a bit of a better video tomorrow in the daylight so you can see where we are. But you know, the engine is in. Not overly difficult. One thing that I had forgotten to consider is the fact the auto box, the torque converter in it, sits flush with the gearbox, and the flex plate is almost flush. It's actually slightly below the surface of the bell housing, so when it all mates together, you've not really got much protruding from the gearbox to interfere with anything, because obviously you've got the tool sump, so you've got to try and, you know, edge it forward and sneak it over the diff. With the flywheel and clutch and everything in place, you know, the back of the clutch is basically that far out from the back of the engine. I thought that was going to give quite major problems with regards to getting it in, and it was a bit fiddly, definitely fiddly, but actually it went in quite well. It was a bit tight on the dowels, but that's no bad thing, and I was very surprised. So I managed to get probably 12 bell housing bolts in, which is, you know, that was one of the unknowns really, how many bell housing bolts I'll be able to get in, because yes, the bolt housing pattern should be the same, but there's lots of bolt holes on the gearbox, there's lots of bolt holes on the engine, and the likeliness of all of them lining up was basically zero. So it was then a case of working out what ones did line up, and actually on the gearbox side of it, the vast majority did line up. There's only probably about 3 or 4 that didn't line up. So basically I've used almost all of the bell housing bolts holes in the gearbox, so that was a real result. And yeah, everything else, the exhausts, so I've welded the cats back onto the downpipes, mainly as a temporary thing. Potentially to get this MOT'd, I'm going to have to run it on petrol for now, see how the LPG stuff goes, but we're, you know, beginning December now, so it's bitterly cold and I just want to get using it. So for now it will be petrol, possibly MOT'd on petrol. It depends if I can get the LPG stuff working in time, and then and also for me to buy all the bits to make all new downpipes and all the flexies and all that sort of stuff was going to cost me sort of 200 quid just in materials to do it, to then maybe 6 months down the line rip it all off and have a full custom stainless system made. So I worked out with what I've got with the cats and the downpipes and stuff, and the silencer removal pipes from the TD-V6. I've got basically enough bits to make up a full exhaust system with what I've got. I've probably got to buy a couple of little bits, but nothing major really. So hopefully that should make my life when it comes to making an exhaust a lot easier, and all the hangers are in the right place, and you know, all that sort of stuff. It just makes life 10 times easier when it comes to mounting the exhaust, albeit trying to get the cats in with the engine in was an absolute nightmare. They are massive, and it's not, there's plenty of room around there, but because they're quite long, trying to get them up above the gearbox cross member and stuff like that was very difficult, but we did manage in the end. We had to jack the engine back up slightly just to give us a bit more clearance, but it's now all in and hopefully it all works. Fuel tank's back in. That was again quite a job, you know, crawling around on the floors, 2 of us, so yeah, that was quite a mammoth task, but it's in, done. So in theory now, for getting it running, everything underneath the car is done. So it's all just stuff on top, getting the rad in, getting all the hoses on, connecting up the last couple of plugs here and there, and then just making sure it works, turns over, and hopefully starts. So yeah, it's very exciting now, getting very, very exciting indeed. So fingers crossed it works. I was very pleased with the flywheel bolted straight onto the engine, no problems at all, dowel lined up perfectly, the clutch bolted straight to the flywheel, no problems at all. So hopefully all my calculations with the whole lot have paid off and it will work, but unfortunately there's only one way to find out. So yeah, stay tuned, and hopefully in the next video we'll have it running. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much.